What's up guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to paint a basic flower bush from start to finish. These types of plants occur very frequently in landscape paintings, and they can vary greatly in shape, size, and color. The way that they have so many small clusters of shadow and color may seem daunting at first, but in this video I'm going to be demystifying the process of painting these in just a few short steps. So I start off by painting a rough oval shape with a basic green color. The color here doesn't really matter as long as it's a medium value where you'll be adding the subsequent layers on top. I'm using acrylic paints so they dry much faster. So immediately after I finish painting this base, I start painting the shadows on the bottom. I don't wait for the colors to dry here because I want to do some blending. I use black paint on the bottom and blend it with the rest. I don't care too much about the accuracy here, as I will continue to add more layers over this part. Also, use some variety with the color here. Don't use black everywhere for the shadows. Use a dark green color in some of the other parts because too much black paint takes away from the richness of color that this painting needs. It makes the colors too muddy and you don't want that. Next, I start to add small patches of shadows all across the bush. I'm using the same color, dark green, in most of these areas. I use short brush strokes, just adding small amounts of paint and covering the surface with these dark spots. Try to have some variety here. Make some of them small, some of them larger, because in nature you have lots of random ways that the scenery comes together. Also, try to have some of them more solid colors than others. What I mean is that some of these dots you're painting should be more solid color, whereas some of the other ones you could blend them with the background. Also, notice by now how I have indicated where the source of light is coming from, which is from the left. I painted a higher amount of darker patches on the right side. Now I'm starting to paint the flowers. Right now I'm using a slightly darkened version of red because these are the foundational colors of the flowers, where the brightest parts are going to be a lighter version of red. Just like with the previous layer, paint these flower patches the same exact way. Your brushing should be short but varying in size and shape. Also, leave some of these color patches more solid where they stand out more, but some of them you can blend together with the background. The top part of the bush should have a slightly more concentrated amount of these flowers, since from the angle at which you would view this bush, the flowers should be more clustered together from your viewpoint. Now let's go back to the leaves. Right now I'm painting over the previous layer using a lighter green, painting some leaves here and there. Make sure that the brightest ones are going to be on the left side, and slightly darken your color as you go to the right. Now you're starting to see the whole purpose of why we have painted the black spots all over this painting in the beginning. As you're painting these leaves, just like with the previous layers, leave some of the colors solid, but some of the other ones you can gently blend the edges together with the background. Now I'm going back to the flowers. I'm increasing the value of the color to a more baseline red color. Mind you, I'm still desaturating it with a small amount of gray because I don't want it to stand out too much. I will leave that to the final layer that I'll be doing next. I'm going over the dark red spots and painting very small patches of these colors. The flowers themselves are small, but they are in clusters of varying shapes and sizes. The key to painting here, as you have probably noticed, is that you're going to leave some of the previous layers visible, and so it's going to be likewise with this one. Be more careful and deliberate here, painting slowly. Leave some of these a solid color, and of course, blend some of the other ones very gently along with the rest of its surroundings. The reason why we're doing this is because having some of them blending here will soften up the overall image, because otherwise the plants and flowers will end up looking too stiff and rigid, taking away from the aesthetics of a landscape painting. Also, side note, when you are painting the flowers on the very edges of this bush, blend some of them gently along with the background as well. This will help give this plant a very subtle halo effect that can work very well with other clusters of plants in a landscape painting. Okay, moving on to the final stage. Here we'll use some red and white paint to paint the brightest flowers. Paint them the same way as you have done with the previous layer, slowly, deliberately, leaving some of them whole and solid, and blending some of them carefully with the previous layer. And lastly, take a look at the painting. Notice if you have any unfinished spots that need more refining. The right side I haven't really elaborated on, and so real quick I go over it, blending the edges of the flowers on the outside and adding a few more dark clusters. So that's really it. This is a very simple flower bush painting. These plants come in varying shapes, sizes, and colors, and so you can be sure I will be coming out with more tutorials like this one where we explore other types of plants and how to put them onto the canvas together. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel to see more tutorials and anything art related. Thank you for watching.